Are you curious about how A Quiet Place Day One fits into the timeline of the original films? This prequel is going to tell us everything we've been dying to know about the A Quiet Place universe, from the first signs of the outbreak to how people adapted to the dangerous silent world. We've got all the insight Day One will give us about this eerie, heart-pounding story. Prequels always provide backstory for their source material, and for a franchise as complex and unique as A Quiet Place, learning more about the lore can make a major difference in fans' understanding of the story. The A Quiet Place movies do a great job of explaining the unique circumstances of the state of the franchise's world. Yet one clear question remains: how did it get like this? A Quiet Place Day One will answer this, showing the first day that aliens invaded the Earth. The film takes place in New York City, unlike A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2, which show how folks deal with the aliens on Earth in remote settings. As characters in the bustling city learn about the new reality that awaits them and the rules associated with it, the audience will discover what it was like for characters in this universe to first come in contact with the beings that would ultimately control their lives with terror. A Quiet Place Day One is going to have a very different feel than the other movies, not only because of the new setting, but also because of the entirely new cast of characters. According to the movie's star, Lupita Nyong'o, a new take on the world of A Quiet Place was creator John Krasinski's goal. She told Entertainment Tonight,
he was interested in doing something new with the universe he created, but also with the genre of horror film. Finding new ways to get into that genre and to expand it.
And it seems this goal was realized. Nyong'o says,
I think that this film does that. It's a new tone, I swear.
The new characters, led by Nyong'o as Sammy, are the film's sole focus. And yes, that means that the protagonists of the previous films, the Abbott family, may not be in the film at all. Lupita Nyong'o's Sammy is joined by other new characters, played by Stranger Things alum Joseph Quinn and Hereditary star Alex Wolff. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Nyong'o explained why a new cast of characters was an important addition to the A Quiet Place timeline. She explained, quote, "When you have a family, there's an innate expectation that they will want to stick together. Without that binding the characters together, Nyong'o thinks there are more interesting dynamics at play." She said, quote, "We have these disparate individuals who collide into each other's lives, and it is at a very pivotal time for the world. How do they negotiate survival together? What we get is really interesting and even surprising chemistry in the characters that meet each other along the way." Despite the new characters, Jimon Hansu is returning from A Quiet Place Part 2, giving us one character to connect between the movies. While new characters in a new setting expand the A Quiet Place universe, the main goal of A Quiet Place Day One is world building and showing audiences what happened before the original film. The film is made to answer questions set up by the previous movies, and the trailer shows that we will discover the beginnings of the alien invasion and many other connections to what we know from the first two films. The trailer shows the drama of the loud, busy city turning to silence and the aliens abruptly descending on Earth. Easter eggs and connections to what happens in the world in the future are sure to make this film act as a perfect companion piece for the other films. While A Quiet Place Day One takes place before the original A Quiet Place film, it will have some overlap with A Quiet Place Part 2. In that sequel, events overlapping with Day One from the point of view of the Abbott family take place. Because of how the trailer began, showing the Abbott family far in the future, after Day One's events, we can't rule out the idea that this movie may have time skips to the future that they have so far kept under wraps. The beginning of the Day One trailer shows the Abbott family. Lee Abbott, played by John Krasinski, died in the first film, and therefore did not return for the second. Seeing him in the trailer has sparked fans' curiosity about whether Lee will appear in Day One. After all, going back in time means that Lee is still alive during the events of Day One, and therefore he could appear in the movie to connect the narrative to its source material. Day One's relationship to the first two films isn't the only part of this timeline that's likely to come into play. A Quiet Place 3 is set to premiere in 2025. It's been said that members of the original cast, like Emily Blunt, will return, and that it will take place on the timeline after A Quiet Place Part 2. It wouldn't be a surprise, though, if Day 1 sets fans up for the next sequel. Are you ready to see what Day 1 of the world of A Quiet Place really looked like? What do you most want to see in Day 1? Let's discuss it in the comments. And for more deep dives on all your favorite movies, liking and subscribing to The Things means you won't miss a thing.